I often get asked by people who, while they might love and collect virtual pets like the Tamagotchi or Gigapet releases, have never owned a Digimon virtual pet. So they often ask me which Digimon pet I would recommend in order to get into the franchise or just into collecting or raising Digimon pets. I also get asked this question by people who have very limited to no experience with virtual pets from any franchise. And my answer to both of these types of people is always the same. The 2017 to 2023 released Digital Monster version 20th. The DM20, as it's often called, was originally released in 2017 in Japan, but was later released internationally in 2019 onwards. The Digital Monster Ver 20th is the perfect pet for newcomers to virtual pets, newcomers to Digimon, returning fans seeking nostalgia, and honestly, for that matter, anybody who enjoys the Digimon virtual pets. The main reason that I recommend this release over all other Digimon virtual pets is because of how simple the gameplay is. While the Digital Monster X also had a fairly widespread international release, I wouldn't recommend it as a first Digimon or a sort of introduction to collecting Digimon, as there are too many additional mechanics such as levels and unlocking different Mon via a quest mode. This does appeal to some, and many do love the DMX as a release. It's just for me not something that I like as much, and it makes me hesitant to advertise it or recommend it to someone who is asking for a recommendation on a good virtual pet that is Digimon related to get into the franchise. So the DMX is very good and many people do recommend it. And in fact, I still like the DMX, and I would likely recommend it to, as if someone's had a DM20 and then wants to venture out to another Digimon related virtual pet, I would also recommend the DMX as sort of like a second stepping stone, but for that initial jump into the franchise, I would just recommend a DM20, and I'll be talking about more reasons why in this video, which is the purpose of the video, why I recommend it as a baby's first virtual pet, so to speak. So the DM20, on the other hand, while it does have unlocks, it just has the eggs that you unlock, or rather one egg per device, rather than various evolutions like the DMX has that you need to pass a certain area in the quest mode and be a certain level to achieve. It's just one egg, and then that's the only unlock. On the DMX, it's various evolution paths, and it's part of the actual requirements to get to some Digimon. So that added gameplay and functionality, while it does add more depth to the toy, it means that it's not as easily recommendable as the DM20, which is very simple in terms of getting evolutions with less requirements. The pet starts you off with just the version 1 original Digimon egg, but eases you in with that. Once your Digimon evolves to child level, after several hours of gameplay, you will not only have the ability now to have a second Digimon at the same time, but you can choose a different egg to hatch. You're not just locked into the one egg and all the evolutions that come from that egg. You have a fairly large roster of Digimon and eggs to choose from. So, of course, you don't actually have to go with hatching a second egg. I sometimes just run my DM20 just with the one Digimon on it, but you do have the option to run two at the same time. It does, however, mean that you have to pay attention to two Digimon and fulfill their care requirements and not neglect either. So it does add that extra level of difficulty running two at the same time. There's also, as I mentioned, a huge roster of Digimon available on this one virtual pet, which feels like it increases the overall longevity of the Digimon being played and enjoyed by the person. So, in terms of value for money, I feel like that's another benefit of running a DM20. You could just play it for ages. I remember when it first released in 2017, and I played it like non-stop for months, and I'm still not sick of it. I love the DM20. It's chef's kiss. It is fantastic. My secondary reasoning for why I recommend the DM20 is to do with how easy and accessible it is to get. The copious amounts of these toys that were released internationally makes it extremely accessible, while releases from Japan from 2017 up until their 2023 releases have been exclusive premium Bandai Japan items. Their international releases have been made available in store or online on sites like Amazon and have 4 waves released. The Wave 4, which is the most recently released version outside of Japan, has a slightly different design on the box compared to the earlier 3 waves. As the box more closely resembles the original Digimon's US release, it has that added level of nostalgia, which is also really appealing. And unfortunately, the Wave 4 wasn't actually released in Australia. I had to import using Zen TCG, but if you're in Asia or America, you do have the Wave 4 easily accessible. In Australia, we just have the first 3 waves, which that's still a lot of releases. As far as I'm aware, they're also very much available on Amazon, but you can also get them in store as well. So very easy to get your hands on. Of course, there's also the Ver Revival, which I've covered in a previous video. It is the DM20, but with a few quality of life improvements. However, I wouldn't recommend this over the DM20 on the basis that it was a premium Bandai Japan release only, meaning it is more expensive than the DM20 itself. So, if you can get your hands on a Ver Revival, go ahead. It's all the positives that I have about the DM20 are also in the Ver Revival, so you can get that if you're able to, but in terms of cost and accessibility, in terms of you can just go to a store and get it, I recommend just the standard DM20, but the gameplay is the same, more or less, between them. I have covered what the differences are, and there aren't that many, so you do have that as an option. Then, if you're wanting something that isn't as much as a virtual pet, but is still virtual pet adjacent, there is, of course, the Vital Bracelet BE, which, again, I've covered a lot on this channel. I'm a big fan of the Vital Bracelet BE, so if you want something that's more gamified fitness with virtual pet adjacent aspects, you can pick up the Vital Bracelet BE. You will still have to import it, but it is fairly easy to import. This video is not sponsored by anyone, but you can get it from Zen and TCG, Japan You Want. I'm pretty sure even Hobbylink Japan have them up still at the moment, so very easy to get your hands on if you are so inclined. But overall, if you're looking for a Digimon virtual pet, I will always recommend the DM20, especially as a first Digimon virtual pet. Again, once you're done with the DM20, you can move on to the DMX, which is the Digital Monster X, but I would just recommend as a first stepping stone for it to be the DM20. So those are all my reasons why I recommend the version 20th as baby's first Digimon pet, so to speak. It's fun, and it's both accessible in terms of you can just go to a store and get it, and it's accessible in the way that it is fairly easy to get the hang of. It's not overloading you with features, functionality, things to do, etc. It's fairly straightforward. So I would recommend the DM20. And that's basically my thoughts on the matter. If you have any comments or questions about the DM20, anything that I've mentioned here that you want me to go over a bit more, let me know in the comments section below. Check out my other videos because I have covered the DM20 quite a lot. So also if you want to hear more, check out any of my other videos about the DM20 or the DMX or the Vital Bracelet BE. But let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, etc. in the comments section below. Like this video if you think that the shells are really cool for the international releases. I love all the colours that they've done with them. I love that you can effectively easy shell swap them, both with the DM20 and the DMX as well, which is always great. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your family, tell that friend that you remember talking about about Digimon. There we are, nailed it. So tell that friend and tell them that I can't string 2 words together and shouldn't be allowed on YouTube. So in any case, I will see you on the next video. Bye!